Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being here. So today we're going to be talking Sony. And in the news, we've been hearing about a lot of rumors for the Sony A7S3 coming out and when it's going to be coming out and whatnot. And we saw a leak of an image. I threw it up here. Is it real? I don't know. Is it a mock-up? But it's the A7S3 that will soon be coming. So I want to talk to you about it. I want to give you my thoughts on it. I want you to give me yours. What do you think? So if you don't know, the A7S2 came out right around September of 2015. So we're looking at, getting close to 4 years ago. The A7S3, I think, is going to have a brand new image sensor in it, as well as an image processor. Should be new also. Now, a lot of people have been talking about, oh, this is going to have a ton more megapixels and whatnot. I don't think that that is going to be the case, and I'll tell you why in a minute. I think that the UI in it is going to be new also, a new menuing system probably something similar to like the A6400 or now like the A9 with the new firmware update. What is it, 5.0 I think it is now. It has some new menus. It also does better AF tracking, which is awesome, as well as image processing to give better IQ, so better image quality. I think that's what we're going to see with this and a couple of other things. I still think it's going to be an absolute low light beast, just like the A7S2 was when it was released almost 4 years ago. I do think that this is going to be released right around September of this year, almost exactly 4 years after the first one, or let's say its predecessor was released. So I think that we will see that A7S3 right around September. If it's later in October, I would be surprised, but they've been working hard on it for quite some time. As far as the megapixel goes, a lot of people are saying that it's going to have a ton more megapixels, and that's going to be this big thing on why the processor is new and there's new image sensor and all this stuff. I don't think that that's going to be the case. The older, the A7S2, its predecessor to the A7S3, had 12.2 megapixels, I think, right around there. Whereas this new one, I believe, will probably see maybe 18 to 20 megapixels, maybe 24 megapixels max. I don't think it's going to be too much more than that because they're going to leave their higher megapixel camera for their R line, like their A7R, the R2, the R3, whatever. But that R line will be for portraiture, landscape photographers. This camera is going to be for just low light video beasting. Okay, that's what I think what they're doing with this. I also do think that they're going to have a new battery that they come out with this. And you won't see probably this NP, what is it, the FW50, I believe it is. I think that we won't see that battery anymore. We're going to need something that has a higher capacity unit for this camera because of the amount of processing that it will be doing. Now, since this will be a video camera beast like I believe that it should be, I think that they're going to increase video all the way around. So we'll see 1080p instead of at the current 24 to 30 frames per second. We'll most likely see 120 frames per second. That's no crop, 120 frames per second, maybe even pushed up to 240 frames per second with this new system. It is a possibility. They can do it. Also, I think we will see 4K in this camera, but not at that baseline 24 to 30. I think that it will probably be 60p is where it'll max out at. Possibly a crop, but I do not think that the 4K that they introduced will have a crop. Maybe they'll do no crop at 24 and 30 frames, and then at 60 frames per second, maybe it'll give a slight crop. I'm not sure. But they should be able to do 4K all the way up to 120 frames per second. They can do it with the new processor. I would not doubt it, especially with the new battery that I'm speculating that will be introduced. Also, I think the big thing here is there's a lot of people that have been speculating that this new A7S3 is going to have a global shutter in it. I think it's a bunch of nonsense. We will not see a global shutter in this. I do not think we're going to see a ton more megapixels. Like I said, 18, 20, 24 maximum. That global shutter rumor that's been going out, I think it's just a bunch of nonsense. They've been talking about it, but if you understand how global shutters work, you know, we will most likely see a global shutter in a Sony camera that is like their 6400 line, okay, a APS-C line. Then we're not going to see it in a full frame right out the get-go. It's just not going to happen. There's too much that needs to be done. There's too much data there that needs to be read. Obviously, as far as what they're doing with this, I think their big thing is going to be 8K. I think what you'll see is an 8K, most likely it'll be a cropped 8K, or it'll be just straight uncropped 8K at 24 frames, 30 frames per second, maybe a slight crop, I don't know, but I think we're going to see 8K. It's been 4 years since the introduction of the last one. They need to future-proof this a little bit. Global shutter's not here yet. That's not going to be the big thing. All right. I think it's going to be 8K. I think this is going to be just a really nice camera for the Olympics that come out in 2020, a year after this is released, probably with a couple of firmware updates by then. So I think that's what we're going to see. Now, bear in mind that they're going to be reading just a ton more data. They're going to be having to write a ton more data and manipulate all this data. There's a lot of speed that has to go into the 8K of this reading and writing process. And that's why I think the battery is very important. But I think for the last 6 months to a year that they've been saying that they've been really working hard at this A7S3, I think what they've been working on is heat distribution. I think they're burning up this thing. I believe that the amount of data that they're pushing and pulling here is just, they're trying to figure it out. How do we dissipate the heat, get the heat out of the camera, but also without introducing possible moisture? How do we retain a really good weather sealing and still be able to get this heat out? For example, like Apple did with the iPhone, right? They pulled out, they got rid of the jack, so you don't have a headphone jack anymore, because that was a really easy way for water to get into the phone. But what they also did was they sealed the external speaker, so that when the speaker does turn on and start vibrating, it pushes out the water and now dries that chamber. Okay, so these are the type of technological advancements that have to happen on the Sony side to be able to make this happen, to be able to make this camera record at high speed 4K or even lower speed 8K, because of the amount of heat that is created in this small sealed camera. Because I don't think they're going to go much larger than the camera that they currently have. And that being the case, it is going to be like one big fat heat sink. Okay. They're really going to have to figure out how to get the heat out of it. So these are my thoughts on where I think that Sony is going. Like I said, I do not believe the rumors on global shutter. I think it's a bunch of nonsense. It's just not going to happen. If we do see a global shutter on the Sony side, it's going to be in an APS-C first before it goes into full frame. I do not see a ton more megapixels on this camera. I do not think that's what they're going for. I think you will see a little bit of an increase in megapixels, like I said, to 18, 20, 24 maximum, but the majority of it will go into that low light capacity as well as the speed of capturing of AF. AF is a big thing. The A6400 is just doing a phenomenal job. I've been seeing a lot of test videos comparing it to, for example, like a Canon 6D Mark II that has dual pixel AF. Dual pixel AF, we all know, is the best current tracking that's out there, and it's by Canon, right? Well, Sony is right there now, absolutely right there, on par, and maybe even better in some situations, to be able to hook up and track on a subject. And their IAF is phenomenal, right, guys? Absolutely phenomenal. So that all being said, now that they are on par, they're going to have to carry that into 4K and most likely into 8K when it comes to tracking. And that is, like I said, another heat problem. So anyways, guys, this is where I think that Sony's going with the A7S3. I want to know what you think. Do you think that I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? What do I have right? What do I have wrong? Let's talk about it a little bit, because I really do think this is going to be a really big thing for 2019 that everyone will be talking about. So we'll see how it all happens, right? Stay tuned, as we say. So as always, if you enjoy my content, please throw me a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you can get all my content when it becomes available, and click the bell icon right here. So when it is available, you will be notified of it. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented for you and me over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me. That would be awesome. I would appreciate it. So guys, I'm out of here for yet another vlog. That's it for Sony and the A7S3. Don't forget, in the comments, I want to hear your thoughts. That's it, guys. Happy shooting. We'll see you in the next vlog. Take care.